What's up and welcome to another episode of the SBL podcast. Today, I sit down with up-and-coming UK bassist Daisy Pepper, and we talk about doubling down on yourself, on rock and roll, the things you love. In Daisy's case, it's rock. We talk about why Spector Basses rule, and we talk about how to deal with haters on the internet, and you're going to want to check that out for sure. Daisy is one of our new teachers at SBL Live Class, and she is an absolute star. So definitely get ready for this. But before we get there, let me tell you what's going on this week at SBL. Product news. The first course of 2024 is now available in the SBL Academy. It's called Compression, Everything You Need to Know with Jonathan Herrera. So if that's been a confusing topic for you, this is an amazing course. I need to go through it myself too. Also, the weekly SBL mentor session today, Monday, February 5th, Ariane Cap is in the mentor's hot seat doing the syncopation, elevation, tighten up your funk. And then next week, Monday, the 12th of February, Jonathan Marin, steadiness is a superpower. I'm a huge Marin fan. I'm going to try to tune in for that one. Hey, that's all of me. Let's get to this interview. Okay, show me this bass and tell me everything about it, because today, Daisy, you and I are Spector buddies. Look at this.
We are.
Come on.
Oh my goodness. Two peas in a pod. It's so different but so alike at the same time.
I love it.
Insane.
It's so cool.
Matching. What's your headstock like?
My headstock is not matching. Mine is. Look at that cool headstock. Amazing. Flip it over. Show me the back. I gotta see.
Okay, we got a pink moment.
Yours is like pink on the. Am I right?
I wanted to go hot pink. I wanted this bass to capture like everything that represents me. So even the headstock's pink as well.
And Colin did that cool thing where it turns from blue to pink.
Yeah,
in
so this one's,
the neck?
Yes, it's purple. It's purple. I think it looks quite bluey actually on the screen, but it's purple.
Yes, it is.
Very dark purple. But yeah, that sort of matches the middle of this. So it kind of all links really nicely. And then even on the side, that just...
Oh, that is so cool.
It's so nice.
Oh,
I love it.
When did you get that bass? When did you get it?
So I would have got it March or April last year. I did it in collaboration with a shop in North Carolina called Music Loft.
Sure.
They were having their shop anniversary, the 30th anniversary, I think, of basses, and they celebrated by bringing out a custom Spector every month. I was speaking to Chase, and I sort of, he gets these really insane bell tops, and I've always wanted a bell top bass.
Yes.
I love it. And he said, well, let me send you some of the bell tops I've reserved. And he went to the factory, took a picture of them all for me, and was like, pick which one you want.
No way.
And I saw this one, and it had, some really insane knots in it.
Yeah.
Faces, like you can see like little faces in it, and it's just so detailed. So I think I ordered it in October of 22 or November, and it was done by March. They did it so quickly for me because it was in time for my birthday. So I was able to get this in time for that, and it's
so good.
And
it's got your logo. You were telling me it's your logo. The pepper with the daisy on the top.
Oh yeah, some people say it looks like a firecracker, which I quite like because
that's like the fuse is lit, like
yeah, exactly. But they said cool. That there's a possibility that it might be really difficult to get those petals in, but they absolutely smashed it.
They did.
Like I can't describe how detailed it is when you actually really look at it. It's really insane, and the fact they were able to do this for me is just blows my mind.
That's so cool. Well, so you have to tell me, like, I don't know much about you. I feel we became Instagram friends a while back.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, who is this Daisy that's like playing rock music on Spectors? Because I feel like I came up in the era of like seeing, late 80s, early 90s. I was really influenced by that period of like rock and grunge. So seeing Skid Row and Living Colour and Pantera and Queensryche and, there are all these players that were playing Spectors. And I just absolutely fell in love with the look and the shape. And it wasn't until way later that I got one in my life. But I remember being a kid, being so, seeing like Mike Starr with Alice in Chains with the bass like way down, but you know what I mean? Playing like a white NS2, and I was like,
cool.
oh, it's so, but where did the love come from for, I guess I'm talking about Spectors, but we can even broaden it more to just like rock and roll. How did you fall in love with the genre and kind of this style of bass?
I'll start off with the Spectors because I guess that sort of links. I feel like it was a connection that's sort of like meant to be. It was, I didn't even realise that I'd been seeing Spectors growing up because I'd only started playing bass when I was, how old was I? 13, 14.
Okay, yeah, right.
So I was a late starter. I'm 22 now, so, I've not actually been playing for all that long.
Yeah.
But with Spector, I got recommended them. I have a Patreon, and one of my very lovely Patreon members, Thomas, recommended I check him out. He was playing them as well. And he said, you should check out this company. They got some really sick basses. I think the tone would suit you and everything.
Yeah.
So I think I went and bought the Squid first, my Euro 5LE Squid.
Yes, I remember that bass. Was that in conjunction with Darkglass?
Yeah, so that was another thing. It was like getting the Spector then introduced me to the Darkglasses, and then now I'm a Darkglass artist and a Spector artist, and it feels like it just worked out so well. And EMG, it's got some sick EMGs on it.
Yes.
And that, I was like, this is my tone. I was like, this bass sounds so massive.
Yes.
And then I got the bug. I saw they had a NS4 in stock at the shop I bought it from here in the UK. Bought that, and then I was like, oh my god, they got USA basses. These are insane. So I don't know how many Spectors I've got now, but I think it's like 14 or 15. So I've truly got the bug for them.
That is wild. That is wild. That is
I
so
like
cool.
them.
Yeah, and it's so fun because I'm 45, so I am more than twice your age. It's just so fun to see somebody your age coming up that's doing that. What is into the same kind of aesthetic tone thing that I was into in my, it's like, that's what happens when you get old. You see things come around again. That's when you know it hasn't happened to you yet, Daisy, probably, but it will. There'll be a time, late 20s, early 30s, where you'll be like, oh, I remember that from like middle school. And you'll be like, oh God, it's happening.
It's already kind of happening.
Fun.
Like, I'm seeing the obsession come back with, I went for a new metal phase and an emo phase and everything.
Yes.
And I'm seeing it kind of come around again, and I'm going, oh my gosh, like, you're only just discovering Fall Out Boy and everything. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
true.
Wow, it's all coming back around.
Oh, it's Daisy. I have a 12-year-old daughter named Everly who was like, Dad, I really need to know. There's like a boy that she is, it thinks is cool in school that plays guitar, right? And,
nice.
And he really likes Guns N' Roses.
Oh,
which,
wow.
Right, was like Duff and Guns N' Roses. That was my middle school, in real time. And she's like, I need to dig into Guns N' Roses, probably start with Appetite for Destruction. And I'm like, this is so bizarre,
Oh my goodness.
Great.
Yeah, because they're all like learning. They have to learn about this music. And
right.
I think it's cool seeing, like, everyone I know pretty much knows what I know. But I think when you then start introducing people to these songs, I'm thinking, oh my God, you've not heard this before. Like,
I know.
You'll get to listen to this for the first time. Isn't that exciting? Like, Are you not thrilled? Appreciate it. I haven't got this moment.
Right. When did you come up playing bass first? Because I know you play guitar as well. Were you a guitar player first? Like, what did that look like in your journey?
My musical journey's been weird. I started guitar when I was 6.
Wow.
I used to love Metallica growing up. I would dance in front of the TV to Enter Sandman, like Nickelback,
yes.
the Chili Peppers,
the best.
the Killers, and the Kaiser Chiefs. The Kaiser Chiefs were my first love. That's, I think a bit of a wild card. Like, I never see anyone talk about them, but I had like a genuine obsession. I was so young when I was obsessed with them, and I was too young. I couldn't go to any concerts.
Sure.
My dad used to email them and try and get me in.
Oh, that's so cool.
But it was, they were my first love, and I loved my indie, I loved my rock, and I loved metal. So I started guitar when I was 6. However, I stopped it after about a year.
Okay.
I just didn't really get it. I was not vibing with it. I just couldn't figure it out, and I think I was just too young, and I didn't really get what I wanted.
Sure.
I just didn't really get it. So I left that for a bit, and I started trumpet lessons. Again, really random.
Amazing.
I played trumpet for, I don't even know what age I started, like 9?
Yeah.
Started trumpet at 9. And even I was like 14, I think. So I played it for a while. Piano lessons, just like the sort of side instruments until I sort of found my one. So I picked up ukulele in school, and then I picked up guitar again, and I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of understanding this. I was playing ukulele chords on the guitar.
Yeah.
Don't ask. I was putting the capo on like, I don't even remember the 12th fret, and the 10th fret. I was playing ukulele chords like up here to songs and just looking them up, and because I couldn't be bothered to learn the guitar chords and I didn't get it.
Right. But that's cool. That's like pre-internet stuff. I mean, that's the stuff that I had to do when when I was learning. There was like the internet hadn't been invented. It sounds so like 1800s or something, but it's crazy, that. Right? And you just Absolutely. Sort of are like, well, I have this thing, and I guess maybe it sounds like they're doing something like this, and that sometimes that can be, instead of looking up the perfect YouTube tutorial, right? That can be kind of a cool way to invent your own thing. So I dig 10th fret capo, ukulele chords on guitar. I'm into it.
I mean, you got to figure it out somehow, and it's all experimentation, right? That's how you... Right. You learn and you figure things out. And I think it wasn't until a friend was like, why are you playing chords like that? That's not a G at all. That's a D. And I was like, what? No, because a G chord on the ukulele is the same layout as a G chord. Sure. So it was like, why are you playing that? Then I was like, oh, maybe I should learn. But I think,
yeah,
it's so embarrassing.
It's awesome.
I look back and I'm like, what was I doing? But then I think it was, when I was 14, my music teacher in school started up a bass club to get more, I went to an all-girls school, so to get more girls playing bass, because he was a bassist. I think we were learning Gold on the Ceiling by the Black Keys.
Cool.
That was my first song on bass. Yep. And I think it was also Banana Pancakes by Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson, sure.
Those two bass lines. And he was like, you're picking this up really quickly. You're a natural. Like, you can do this. And I was so excited. I remember I was like, oh my God, I can't believe someone's just said that to me.
That's a big deal, right? Like when an elder or a teacher or whatever, someone who you associate with the thing you want to do says, you're good at this. Like, that's a big moment.
You feel recognized.
Yes.
And I think it was... So I loved music, and at that point I was in my emo phase as well. Like, there was a lot of really killer bass lines going on in that sort of era and in the music I was hearing, but I never knew what a bass was. I literally, until that moment I took that class, never had I ever heard what a bass was. No one had mentioned it. If I was watching music videos, I just thought it was a guitar. I didn't have a clue. So I guess my journey started literally from the moment that I got told that, and I went home and bought a little Ibanez bass, I think one of the SR series.
Yes.
And that was my first bass that night.
That's so cool. And then has it been pretty much bass, no looking back, or do you still sometimes play other things?
I play guitar pretty much on the side now. It's like mainly as a hobby, because I think now that bass is my job, it's important to have a musical instrument that you like that is a hobby, so I don't just sit and play bass all the time. I don't get to sit down and play songs for fun really much anymore.
It's very balanced, Daisy. This very balanced approach.
Trying my best.
Oh my God,
doesn't always
great.
work, but
okay. But because you don't want to overload yourself with bass, you want to have something give you some perspective.
Yeah, I really love metal, and I love, I've got an 8-string guitar, and I just love playing that and I'm getting the low end, but on a guitar. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Treating a guitar like a bass, pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome. And you're playing, I mean, I'm seeing you gigging. Talk about what your gigging life looks like right now.
My gig rig is pretty fluid, to be honest. It kind of keeps switching up, but there's some things that stay sort of the same. Always pretty much a Spector Live now. The EMGs. This is my 40 DCX pickups. Love these. 18 volt Haslabs preamp.
Yep.
That's like the sound that I sort of associate to myself. And I put that into one of two amps. So it's either the Darkglass Microtubes 900 V2, or an Ashdown RM500 combo, which I'll take on sort of slightly bluesier tours just to get a bit more low end, or like a bit more of a sort of classic sound, if you will.
Yeah.
And then the Darkglass if I wanna kick some butt.
Right, because they have like drive options inside, and
it sounds
they can be really gritty. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's like that when I plug into that amp, the excitement that fills my body. I'm like, oh, that tone is just so mint, and it just never gets old of turning it on, and you can just hear it start up, and I'm like, oh, I'm starting a spaceship.
This is like Darkglass would be so happy to hear you say this. I'm sure you've said it to them.
Yeah, I'm like in their DMs like, you guys are the best.
It is really incredible to find a piece of gear that resonates with you, that like just approaching it to use it makes you excited. Like that's a big deal. Like finding something like that, whether it's an instrument or like an amp, pedals, whatever it is. I love that. Like it's spooling up and you're like, oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Exactly. And it's, it's got the lights on it, and it just looks so futuristic and cool. And on stage it doesn't matter how big the audience is, they'll still see those little 6-band EQ lights.
Yeah, the sliders. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, that I got the tone. So I use that a lot through. I use a 210. Doesn't matter what the amp is. It's always 210. It's
amazing. And are you out on the road a lot? Are you doing sometimes where you're gone for a long time? Do you go out on weekends? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I could be here all day, to be honest, talking about. I think I'm quite lucky in that I've got like a lot of projects happening throughout the year. Yeah. So I kind of like look at my year like a pie. If you have like a 12 slice pie, each month's a different flavor. Yes. Like a 12-piece pie of different flavors. So I could have. I mean, last year in October, November, December, I had 3 different tours, back to back. So I wasn't really home like at all. Wow. I was going around Europe and I've gone around the UK. And the same will happen
what bands
this year.
are you out with?
What bands do you say, sorry?
Yeah.
So I've been playing bass for Laura Evans. She's like a blues, Americana country, rock kind of artist. She's incredible. Super fun to play with. She's so talented and her voice is just incredible. And yeah, playing bass on her songs is not on the studio records, but playing them live, super fun. I just went on a European tour with her, and it was just so incredibly well done. It couldn't have gone better. It went really, really well. We had no idea sort of how it was going to turn out, and staying in different hotels every evening, and getting in a van for 5 hours and driving, all across Europe. Yes. Insane, and that was a really cool opportunity going around.
Sure.
Going around Europe.
Yeah.
I've been playing with The Cut, which is like a punk rock singer. It's called The Cut Collective, so there's quite a few bassists, rhythm guitarists, drummers that kind of do whatever gigs they can. Sure. So I've just did a gig. We'd supported Danko Jones going around the UK. That was in December. That was insane because support tours are incredible because you meet so many people, new crew members, new bands, getting to speak gear, with the other bassist in the band. Right. I was just like, this is great, talking about what basses we play, the amps and why and everything. It was really, really, really cool.
Oh, it just sounds amazing. I mean, and all of this is like, it seems like it happened fast for you, but do you feel that way? Do you feel like
Yeah.
things are just moving at a crazy pace?
Yeah, it was the tour in December. I had a week's notice. It was like, "Are you free next week? We're going on tour," sort of thing.
Yes.
And I just got out of the European tour, so I was like, "Oh my god, yeah." I mean, I'm free, but I didn't have time to kind of even consider it. It was like, you're either free, you're not. Let's go, sort of thing. Get ready and go.
Yes.
So it is moving really, really quickly. I mean, last year I had 2022 I had how many tours? One tour.
Yeah.
2023 I had 5.
Crazy. Right.
It was non-stop.
And it's just,
And,
Daisy, it is just going to get crazier.
yeah,
You know that, right?
it already is.
It's just going to get, I'm sure
So
it
much
is.
I can't even talk about. There's,
Really? That's so
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's,
Secrets.
secrets, secret shows and all that. I mean, I can talk about my band. I'm in a band with original music because I've had countless comments being like, "When are you going to release original music?
Yeah.
You could just playing covers for the rest of your life." And I'm like, "Well, I am a session musician, so I literally don't, but okay."
Right.
I'm like, "Look into me, you'll see that that's not true." It's like anything but. But I'm in a band called the Exile Club. We've been going since January 2023, and we've got our first album coming out this year.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's cool.
It was, do you know what? I went in the studio with this bass,
Yeah.
these strings, and,
Yes.
just straight DI in, and I'm just so happy with the bass lines I came up with, and
Oh, cool.
how the songs sound, and they're just so good. They feel good songs, feel good tunes.
I feel like there's some footage of you recording for like bass parts for that. Like I checked out the
Yeah.
Exile Club Instagram and there's like you recording bass, right?
Yes, yeah, that's right. I think I did it over how many? Yeah, we did 2 days in the studio,
Cool.
and I did, I think, 8 songs in like 4 hours.
Amazing.
If that, I think it might be 2 hours actually. I don't know, but yeah, it was a really good day. Just getting it all out and having the songs with my bass lines on, because I think all the demos had Joe, our guitarist. He was playing the bass for the
Yeah.
demos.
Yeah.
I think I sort of said, I'm ready to throw some bass down on these and get it done. And I think I tried to keep like a simplistic route. Some of the songs are quite chilled, but I thought, what, there's room. They're all very lovely. They kind of said, if you want to have a moment, then go for it and noodle. So I did some like
so
little
cool.
noodling licks and stuff, and I was, those moments in the studio where you're like, oh, what did I just play? Oh, and everyone's like, oh my god, what did you just play?
That's great.
Yes.
I was going to ask you about your process for writing. So there's a scratch bass line. Do you, like on this project, for instance, did you kind of honor that in ways and deviate in ways? Did you write completely new lines? And what's your process if you get a song that needs a bass line? How do you attack that?
I think with a lot of session work I've done, I've been given a bass line to play. They've sort of done it through MIDI or a keyboard, and they've said, can you just basically play this, but we want the human element to it, which I love, by the way, because I don't know about you, but I'm terrified of being replaced by like keys and stuff, because I'm like, it's happened before, and I'm like, that's not me playing.
Oh yeah, it happens.
So
and AI is coming pretty soon. The AI will be like, "What kind of bass line would you like?" And you prompt it, and it plays such a killer bass line.
Key?
Like, damn it! Yeah, it's probably already here. It's listening to this
Honestly,
conversation. It's going to steal our gigs.
Exactly,
but yes,
I know, I'm scared to play now.
I know what you mean, though. That thing of like, you want to do a good job, you want to bring the sound, the right part, because you don't want it to be wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's really fun, obviously, playing a bass line that you're kind of given, because you kind of just do it, and it's, oh, another day in the studio kind of thing. But with writing them, it's my approach is, you figure out the chords, what chords being played. As far as the demos go, I kind of honored them as much as I could.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. I followed the bass lines at some point, and then I like sort of deviated from them, and then I kind of got comfortable when I was like, oh, this this works better, or in my opinion.
Yes.
But I think with the band, we're quite lucky because we were in the studio sort of August time, but we'd done countless gigs of the songs from January onwards. So we had time to do them live. I could get used to playing them and get used to, oh, this kind of worked. Oh, this sounded really good. I'm going to do that lick for every other gig, and I'm going to do that in the studio. You kind of get to figure things out, right? So I think that's a lot of what I do, is just playing them over and over and over again and seeing what I come up with, what my brain goes, oh, play this, and you kind of do it and you're like, oh, okay, I quite like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like doing that.
Do you feel like you're drawing from influences as well? Like all the things you've listened to, do you feel like that stuff helps you come up with ideas?
Yeah, it's, I think, if you're playing like a certain chord, I mean, I've got relative pitch or, perfect pitch, whichever you want to call it. And I think sometimes I'll definitely hear a song within a song and kind of go, this song did that, or I'm playing this note and this note's played in this song and it has that lick in it, or something. And I'm always kind of relating things, taking things from my favourite bands and thinking, outside the box, what did they do? What would this person do right now? Yes. Without obviously taking too long to play it. Yeah, I'm always trying to take sort of inspiration, but also trying to find my own voice, because I don't want to get so stuck into taking too much inspiration and then I sound like someone else. I want to sound like my own player, and I think I've done a decent job at that on the album. I think it's pretty unique, and I've come up with some really unique riffs and licks, and some just different sounds, a different tone, and I think I'm pretty proud of sort of where I ended up with that. I think it sounds really good.
Congrats. That is so awesome. And just know this too, from an old guy that's been doing this a long time. Whenever you think, or I will say this for me, whenever I thought I was being too derivative of something, no one else did. In my mind, if I was like, oh, that's too much like Geddy Lee or whatever, no one else was like, oh, that's that. It's like you kind of think, oh, I'm taking this from somewhere, but the rest of the world, like, I feel like you can study bass players, your favorite bass players, and a bunch of them, and then you don't come out sounding like, very rarely does someone come out sounding exactly like somebody else, right? I just think the more references you have, or I found this for me, that the more references, more music I've listened to, spanning all kinds of genres, just sort of helps build the character of the playing that is me,
Yeah. Every song you've ever listened to is if you add them all up, it creates you.
Right.
I 100% agree. I think if you merge like a really metal band with like pop, you're not going to get something that sounds like either of them, because it's going to create its own unique sound. I think that's definitely valid in this,
so cool.
Sort of case.
It's cool that you're on this journey. I have to ask, so I didn't get, I played in a bunch of bands. I was in my own band making original music really young, but I didn't start my sort of like professional sideman thing until my 30s. And in fact, I didn't get my first like legit touring gig with this artist, Eric Hutchinson, until I was 36. And that to you, that just has to sound so old. Like when I was in my 20s, 36 was like almost dead, But there are a lot of people out there, right, that feel like they're good at the instrument, they're making the right moves, maybe they're even making a little content, they're trying to get themselves out there, and maybe they're late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, and they're thinking, God, or maybe they're in their early 20s and they're thinking, it hasn't happened for me yet. How can it happen? And they hear you talk about all these gigs, opportunities, this beautiful instrument you have, and they're like, how does that happen? Can you speak to like advice? Because I feel like you're wise beyond your years. You've had so much experience, and you've been doing content, you've been touring, you've been building instruments, you've been, right? What is something that you could say to somebody who feels like it's not happening for them? What's the first piece of advice you'd give to them?
I think that everyone is on their own journey, and comparison can be I think people say, comparison can be the biggest theft of time, and I don't know what the exact saying is, but
yeah, like
something
the
along
thief
those
of
lines.
Joy or something. I've heard that.
Yeah,
right?
thief of joy, thief of everything, to be honest,
right.
in that sort of sense. And I think for me, it was so. I had no idea any of this would happen. Music was such a distant dream for me.
Yes.
And I think even I was saying in regards to the live class thing, to some of my friends, I never in my life, in my timeline of playing bass, thought I'm going to work with SBL at some point, because that was so far in the distance of happening. Like, the odds were so small for that to happen. It wasn't even in my brain. And I think you just kind of have to sometimes write your own story, put yourself out there, have no expectations, just do it. These days I don't really focus on algorithms, I don't focus on the followers, I don't focus on the likes, I really don't care about the views anymore. I just want to post a song that I'm enjoying, and I want to share it. I want to share the gear I'm using, demo that. I want to share my passion for music, and I think you will in time find your people. Those people will come to you, you'll connect with people, it's some things just happen so naturally that you can't predict these things. I haven't predicted like 99% of my career moves. They've kind of just happened, and every time a brand reaches out to me, I still get that like, really? Me? Like the little giddiness inside.
Yes. It feels so flattering, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you're like, I bought my first Darkglass amp, and I never thought, one day I'm going to work with them. I just bought it because I liked the look of it, and I ended up loving it. And you tag them in a couple of posts, and it was literally, I remember the day they reached out to me.
Yeah.
I was on the train to Blackpool on tour with Laura.
Yes.
In 2022, and I got this message saying like, hey, we want to send you the E500 amp to do demos with it and see how you like it. And I just I still remember like being like, what the heck, they want to send me an amp? That's insane. What's going on? Like, what is my life?
Yes.
And now I'm like, 2 years later now, and I'm like, I've worked with so many more brands, and I've continued working with Darkglass. That wasn't the last product that we worked together on.
Right.
They sent me an amp with my flipping name on it.
That's crazy. That's so cool. Yes.
Like, what was I can't even explain how it's not in there. It's not clicked yet. And I just don't get it. And there's I never really would have guessed that happening, and I never sat there thinking like, I hope this happens for me. Like, I never really sat there and thought about it. I just did it. Like, I went and I thought, I'm gonna post about it to anything. I'm gonna get a website set up. I'm gonna get QR codes made with stickers. I'm gonna get my own stickers. I'm gonna sort out a logo. You kind of want to fake it till you make it. I was making stickers with my branding on it when I was like, and I'm still not anybody, but when I had nothing, when I didn't have any of this social media stuff.
Where did that piece of you come from? Because I feel like there are so many people and musicians that aren't thinking in that way. And for me, it took me a long time. Like, whenever I would hear people use the word brand, and it could just be, I'm from a different generation, and there was this real, probably toxic trait for people my age that was like, oh, branding, corporate logo, all that stuff is not cool. Like, it's not real. It's not music. It's, meanwhile, there are these labels that are signing these bands and they're doing that stuff. But to talk about yourself as an influencer, a person of influence, a personal brand, an entrepreneur, that is a fairly recent development, like with social media. But you're saying it started for you before any of this posting stuff. Like, what lit that fire in you?
I think it's the determination to make this happen. Like, I don't have
music.
Music in general, and I don't think it mattered what specifically I was doing in music, but I knew that bass was my thing. I wanted to be a performer. I have no other qualifications. Like, It's music
I know what you mean.
or nothing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
it's musical music. That's it. Because
Right.
before this, I wanted to be a computer scientist. I wanted to be
Wow.
a scientist in general. Before this, like, I've wanted to be a lot of things. Some when you're a kid, you want to be like an astronaut or something. And,
Yeah, sure.
most of the time, that never happens.
Right.
Because it's you think big when you're a kid, and I kind
Yes.
of don't think I ever let go of that, of like thinking outside the box, thinking, okay, well, if I want to be a musician, I'm gonna dream it big. I'm gonna go all the way. You've got to make this happen. And I get a lot of messages from people saying, how did you do it? And I don't have, the simple formula of like this plus this equals this. It's simply, you've just got to, you've got to do it. You have to do it. Like, you have to have that almost like delusional mindset of like, it'll be fine. I can do this. You got to smile and wave through it and be like, yep, all good. If you lose a gig, get another gig. If you can't find a gig, then, there's like apps out there, there's websites out there to get, dep work. They might prefer you as a player if you dep for someone. Like,
sure. Right.
This can happen, it's a brutal industry. You lose gigs and you gotta just go, okay, whatever, move on to the next. You gotta write your story, and fake it till you make it is what I'll always say, because like I said, I had my branding sorted out before I'd even had more than 5 gigs.
That's incredible.
I was like, I need to be a business.
Yeah, that's what. Are your parents entrepreneurial? Was there any kind of thing in your upbringing where like that was encouraged in you?
Yeah, I think my parents have always been extremely hardworking, and they've helped me with literally my whole career. Like, this bass and all the guitars and stuff behind me, I wouldn't have been able to do any of it without them. And I think seeing what their hard work has meant, obviously it's from a very privileged standpoint, I've got both parents, they've had great jobs, and so
Sure.
I'm very aware of that, and I'm extremely grateful and aware that not everyone is in the same position, but I just think it's helped me sort of realise that if I do the late nights of gigs, drive back from a gig, do 2 gigs in one day, you've exposed yourself to 2 different artists in one day. It's 2 bits of work done in one day, so you can do more tomorrow and you have more time. And having just the relentless, I need to work, I'm gonna put my best foot forward today, and seeing where it can get you, even working multiple jobs at once, getting a job at the start and then deciding when to sort of leave that job. It's things like that. I think I've sort of definitely got it from them. They've always been very hardworking people, and it's definitely inspired a spark in me.
Well, and I mean, something that I saw in you really early when I started to see your content was just how much you love it. There is a genuine joy for your craft, for this kind of music. You make no apologies about what you like. And I absolutely freaking love that. Like, you're not like, trying to chase a particular trend. Like, you are doing the thing that you want to do. And that's so refreshing to people. You're not pretending. You have enough self-confidence to like the things that you like. And that makes people like you, because they're like, it gives them permission to like things that they like. And something that I want to say too about you that I see is that, like, it doesn't matter. There are people out there that just don't have the drive, right? You can have a bunch of bass guitars, you can have gear, right? You can have, all this stuff. But if you don't like to do it actually, or you don't want to make that drive to the, and then another drive to play with this artist and lose a gig and feel that heartache, and this room sounds weird to this other gig. Like, if that tanks you, it's over. Like you say, it's almost this like, what word did you use? It wasn't delusional, or maybe it was, but just this thing of like, delusional, right? Where like you have to kind of be like at all odds. It's music or music. And I feel like you have that. That is just, so that's a common thing that I see in people that I talk to that are successful, that build careers. It's kind of like, I mean, the positive words we use are like passion and, dream, but sometimes it's like delusion and
Yeah.
pathological. You know what I mean? Like an obsession. It's an obsession. Would
Yeah,
you say like this is an obsession for you?
yeah, it's my whole life.
Yeah.
I live and breathe music. My friends complain to me because they're like, sometimes we can't get hold of you, and I'm like, because you're messaging me on Instagram, and I've got like everything is coming through at once on there, and I've got to treat everything like an opportunity, and it is having that delusional mindset. I think of, it's music on music. It's that sort of the drive and determination. And as you said, you can do a gig in the grottiest of grotty places.
Yes.
You can
Grottiest of
you
grotty
probably
places. Yeah, I love it.
know. So British of me. Grotty.
It's so great. Yeah, right.
Right, and if you're gonna let that knock you, then you got another thing coming, because you're gonna play in like 50 other of them in the next few
Yes.
days. So I mean, this is a funny story. On the European tour, I hope Laura's okay with me sharing this, but it's just so funny. We stayed, obviously I won't share the venue, but we stayed
Sure.
in venue accommodation. And I don't know if you've stayed in venue accommodation before, but sometimes it's really nice. Sometimes it's
Grotty.
it's grotty.
Yes, it is.
And
Yes, it is.
I don't remember what country we were in. It was like Germany or something. And it was like -2. It was, which I don't know what is in Fahrenheit, but it was cold, basically.
Sure.
And
Yep.
especially for a Brit, it was cold. It was not comfortable. And we went up to the room. We'd done this gig. We kind of drunk a lot. We were just loving life and
Yeah.
vibing. And we get up to this room, and there's no heating. It's so cold in this room. We had, I think, 3 duvet things over us, 2 throws, like blankets.
Yes.
And we stayed. There was 2 single beds and a double bed, and we didn't know if these sheets were clean or not.
Of
We didn't
course.
have any backstory, but we were just huddled in this double bed together, like literally shivering.
Yes.
And we could have sat there and been like, we're better than this. We don't need this. Let's go somewhere else. Do you know what we did? We sat there and laughed about it all night. It was
Right.
the funniest thing. And we said, you know what? We've been at the lowest of low now. Like, this is it.
Right.
If it gets worse, fair. But I don't think it can.
Right.
And I just thought, like, if we've managed to get through this, then we're fine. We've got this. Like,
Right.
you just have to put a smile on and laugh about it. And I think that attitude, for both of us, Laura's doing so well herself, and I think that attitude in the both of us, the fire inside and the determination, it really is that gets you through these things and makes you realise, do you know what, this job has its moments, but this is still what I want to do. I would do that all over again. It was so funny. I would stay in that room all over again
I
just
love
to
it.
experience the funny times and
100%.
shock value.
And if you think back on your life of the things that are story worthy, it's not the lovely hotels that you stayed in that were
No.
perfect temperature, and there was water for you there, and there was a nice breakfast that was free in the morning, and you got out on time, and you got to the gig on time, and you played a great show. Like, that's not interesting. You know what I mean?
Doesn't make a great story at all. Everyone's just like, oh, shut up.
Yes,
I
exactly.
don't want to hear about that.
Exactly. It's the stuff where you missed the flight, had to sleep in the airport, had to, sleep in the grottiest of grotty places. I'm sorry. I love all the Britishisms with Scott.
That is definitely one. I use that word a lot. I'm like, if I say something's grotty, it's grotty. Like, that is, it's grotty.
It's so good.
So,
yeah,
you have to quote me on that.
It's the hardship that makes, and obviously there are hardships that can be traumatic, and, nobody wants those types of things, but like the stuff that you go through, you can either choose to bitch about it and be upset, or you can choose to put it in the story bank and be like, this, we're going to laugh about this. Like, even if you're not laughing in the moment, like you two were, like, you could be like, we're going to look back and we are going to, this is going to be a memorable thing. And to just trust that, like, hey, if you're going through it now, it's not always going to be, you're not always going to be in the coldest of cold rooms. You know, you're going to make it out of there, and that's going to be sort of this like galvanizing thing that the two of you share and in the rearview mirror. And I think a lot of times people like the idea of being in a band. They like the idea of playing the bass. They like the idea.
It's not glamorous at all.
Yeah, it's not glamorous at all. And you have to love it beyond, beyond anything. Can I ask you about content?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
You are a content machine, and you make really engaging, awesome content. And I guess I'd love to know, you mentioned something that I thought was really interesting. You said you're not looking at followers, you're not looking at numbers, you're not looking at metrics, you're making videos and content that you want to make. Can you talk, and I feel like that's a pretty mature approach. There's, I feel like when people start out on their content journey, maybe that's what they're doing, but then everyone at some point gets into this thing of like, when do I have to post? Oh, how, am I growing or am I dying? In terms of follower numbers, you're looking at all those metrics. But what made you cross over into this new zone of just making the content that you wanted to make?
I think, so I'll start this off by saying I am losing followers, right? I'm going to put that out there. I'm going to say my follower count has been dipping for a year. I started off 2022 on like 57k. I'm currently at 55.9. And I am not ashamed to say that because one, it's not my fault. I've been consistently creating content the entire time. I'm happy with what I'm putting out. I think it's high quality for me and my, even in between a busy gig schedule and still managing to get some sort of content out there.
Yes.
I'm proud of it and I'm more than happy with what I've put out there. I scroll through my Instagram and I remember each video and I remember what was going on either side of the video, I filmed that on the day I had this gig, or, I filmed this 5 minutes before running out of the house to go to a session or something. So I'm very happy with what I share. And I think last year was one of my favourite years of all time. It was so good for me. I did so much brand work, working with all my favourite brands that I've, could have ever hoped to have worked with.
Yes.
And I think seeing that follower count go down, but then seeing the brands that I work with increase, I was kind of like, why am I caring about a number on my little profile page on my little phone when I'm going into these, brand HQs and flying across the countries and I'm doing all this exciting gig work and I'm still getting booked for gigs.
Right.
The number doesn't mean anything. It's who's following you that counts, not the amount, right? Everyone strives to get, hit the 100k mark or whatever.
Sure.
But I don't think it matters anymore. I think, it gives me some sort of integrity. People assume I'm a big deal because I've got the amount of followers I do, which, is helpful.
Right.
But I don't think it dictates my success. I don't think it dictates who I can and cannot work with, play with, my skill level. It doesn't really matter to me anymore because I did so many great things last year, on so many more great things than the year before. I was like, it doesn't correlate. I haven't got the time in my life to sit there and think, oh, this didn't hit 10k views.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I'm like, it doesn't matter in the long run. I'm not going to remember.
Right. Well, and the interesting thing too is that, if you do content, you're very like painfully aware, probably too aware of that follower number, right?
Yeah.
And when it goes down, no one else notices. Actually,
no,
like it's funny.
Really
like
don't.
I watch all of your stuff, and I had no idea that your follower count was going down. So externally, it's not like people are seeing, paying attention closely to your follower count and going, oh, hold on, there was a decimal point dip here, right? Someone told me too that like when you lose followers, it's good because it's removing the people that weren't going to be your core audience anyway, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not, like I said, it's who follows you, not how many.
Exactly, yes.
You know, if I'm followed by the brands I want to work with, if I'm followed by, you know, if I've managed to become friends with musicians that I would listen to when I was growing up and stuff,
Right.
you know, and
Yes.
that in itself means way more to me than any follower count, any like count, views, anything could mean, because I know that they are seeing my stuff, you know. The people that I used to listen to now know that I'm in a band. They know who I am, they know my name, they've helped me out with some things, you know, they've gotten me guest lists to their gig. And I think I'd rather have those 10 people that I've created friends with follow me than all the followers, because you know, I don't know if anyone's going to listen to the music when it comes out from my band. I don't know how many of them are, you know, legitimate fans that will actually go out of their way to listen to it. You know, I hope most of them are. But I haven't got that expectation, because I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Sure.
You end up putting yourself on such a pedestal that, you know, if you was to release a song, you know, everyone batters you. They're like, release a song, you know, stop doing the covers and get music out of there. And I'm like, okay, well, are you going to listen to it though? Like, you say this, but are you actually going to care?
Right.
So it's about who follows you, not how many.
Yes.
And as long as you're putting out content that you enjoy, playing a song you love, you know, working with whoever and whatever, I don't think it all matters. As long as you're happy with what you're putting out there on your digital footprint.
Absolutely.
For the internet forever.
Forever.
Fine, you know?
Yeah, I
It's
know.
out there.
Yep, it is.
It's out there.
Let me ask you, because sometimes I see you put up something where someone has made, you know, like a rude comment, and it's interesting. I remember I was talking to Layla about this, Sneery, who, you know, she would get people saying, you know, and she said, honestly, it's mostly old dudes that say mean things. And I was like, old dudes are the worst. And it's funny because I have a sister who does stunts. She lives in Brooklyn and she does stunt work.
That's sick.
For her job. She's so sick. Her name's Paige Allison. She's incredible. But
the
I was
legend.
really, I think on Instagram, I think she's Paige Ray Allison Stunts. Anyway, she's awesome. Check her out. But I was encouraging her to post this thing. She did like a backflip off of a dock into a lake on this vacation. And I was like, you should post that. That was sick. And she was like, I don't know. She's like, there's just people that are kind of weird that, you know, and she's like, I don't know if I want to. And then I was like, no, and I convinced her to do it. And then she posted, and then I saw, I mean, there were some people that were cool, but I saw these guys that came out of the woodwork that left shitty comments on my sister's page, and blood red mad. Like, I was like, let me find these guys and like, you know, but what was interesting is I was saying, you know, I'm coming from this, you know, 40, you know, at the time I was probably 43-year-old white American male perspective, where I was like, oh, it's all good. And the people that leave mean comments, you have to treat it with empathy. And I was, you know, hitting on these Gary V things. And my sister was like, it's not the same for me. And it really kind of made me take a step back. I have this terrible, like, narcissistic impulse sometimes to sort of assume that everybody's kind of like me. You know, like, oh, everybody probably has a similar experiences and thinks the same way. And like, I kind of default to that, which is not cool. It's something that I'm working on. I need to work on. Not everyone's experience is the same as mine, obviously.
Yeah.
But with content, I was sort of in that naive place. And I guess I've seen you post about people that have left shitty comments. And I'm wondering if people are afraid to get into the game of content, or they're concerned about dealing with that stuff. You seem to deal with it well, or... I guess I don't even want to say that. You deal with it. And I guess I want to ask you how you deal with it.
That's a really good question, actually. I think I just kind of have the mindset that, I mean, most of my comments actually are either aimed at the instruments behind me, which is always the funniest ones because I'm kind of there like, well, that's fine, but I'm just going to sit here and be happy about it.
Like what do you mean aimed at the instruments behind you? Like you have too many, or what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go into a bit of depth with that. I had this guy comment on, I think it was an unboxing video, right?
Yeah.
I bought the bass, okay? It's my money, I bought the bass. I wasn't sent the bass. And it was actually unboxing my, the Fender Jag,
Cool.
the Royal Blood collaboration.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Love that bass.
Yes.
So I was really excited about this unboxing. I'm super happy in the video.
Right.
In the bottom of my bag is the signed scratch plate. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, you can see it in the video. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe why is this in here? How is, what's happening?
Cool.
And I got a comment on it that was sort of just going down the lines of immediate hostility of, this guy was a photographer, it was on his business page, his full name is out there, where he works, where his studio is, like every detail that you probably don't want to have on your page when you're being a troll was out there. And especially as some of my followers are going to hit you back too, so bad game to play, right?
Right.
But went down the route of like, I don't understand why you film videos like this. You clearly, you must have rich parents or something. Just immediately just judgy, really judgmental. Didn't say anything necessarily hurtful, but it was just hostile. Like, just saying, I don't understand and whatever. And I can't remember the exact comment because it ended up being like this really long argument of me just sort of saying, it's none of your business, like what I spend my money on. It's literally,
totally.
You can just scroll. If it upsets you that much, you probably need help. You shouldn't really be getting this upset about it. Turns out this guy used to work at the shop I bought the bass from.
Wow.
And the shop ended up reaching out and apologized to me. They were like, he doesn't work with us anymore. And these comments go deep. Some of them, these guys have no filter. They don't care if they get found out. They don't care if they get caught. I get married men with like 3 kids commenting like on my posts with like heart eye emojis and stuff, and I'm like, you're literally married. Like, I don't think your wife would appreciate that.
Right.
The DMs are even worse.
Oh, I can't imagine.
It's so bad.
I'm
kind of happy the algorithm doesn't like me anymore because it means I get less of that. So
wow.
But how you deal with it is you kind of just have to, again, it's similar to the grotty place I stayed in. If you let stuff like that affect you, you're not going to get far. I get sexist comments face to face at my gigs. Wow. I get sound engineers that won't learn my name and will call me, can you go tell that girl?
Oh, yeah, right.
They tried to teach me how to use the amp, but they tried to tell me how to use my bass. They try and offer to tune it for me and stuff. And,
oh my God. Right.
I've had it all. It was so bad. This guy tried to say, he was like, do you know what active and passive is? I was like, yeah. He was like, do you know if your bass is active or passive? I was like, active. And he was like, okay, well, when you plug it into the amp, you need to make sure that the active switch is on, otherwise you'll break my amp. Like, okay.
God, right?
Will do. Okay. And I could see where this was going, and I told my bandmates, this is in my band, and I said to them, I was like, I don't like that sound engineer. He's giving me vibes. And they were all like, I'm sure it's fine, but it wasn't until we were about to go on. And I plugged the bass in and everything, and I heard him say to the other sound engineer, go tell the girl to make sure that she's put it on active so she doesn't break my amp. And the lead singer looked at me and she was like, okay, you're right. Yeah, awful human being. Yeah. What the heck? But I just went, yep, it's on active, don't worry, I'm fine. And then I did a killer bass solo, and I was like, see, I can just show you. I'll just show you that I'm sick. I don't need you to believe it, I'll just show you.
Well, it just has to take a toll. Does it ever take a toll on you?
Honestly, no. I've always been pretty thick-skinned, and I think Again, I love the content I put out. I love unboxing videos, and I'll upload more of them. You know, if it's going to annoy people, then I'll do more. I'll just annoy you more. I won't block you. If anything, I'll follow you back so you see my unboxing videos, you know? They're going to annoy you that much.
It's amazing.
It's not me that needs to get a grip, it's them. It's like, they're the ones that need help, not me. I'm fine. I'm living life.
You are living life. And honestly, I'm sure that's what people are responding to. They're, it doesn't make it right, but they're responding. They're thinking, I wish that I had that life. And why does she have it and I don't have it? And it is for all the reasons that you listed previously in this podcast. Work ethic, drive, all of the things that you have done, and people see you and they assume it's something else, and that's not fair. And I want to put on record for all old guys out there, we're not all bad, Daisy. All right.
No, absolutely. I don't judge. I get like some of the gigs I have are mostly like age 60 up, and I love them. They're great. There's some of them that leave such nice comments, and they mean well, and it's always the positive I pay attention to, right? I try to delete the negative. I screenshot them first, though, because it's always nice to look back on. If you want to make yourself feel better, laugh and read old hate comments. It's the funniest thing ever. I mean, to be fair, like, you can even, if people leave their workplace and stuff, you can be petty. I say game's the game. Like, I've got, I've done some pretty petty things if someone's tried to upset me before, and I have no shame about it, because it's, I'll message your workplace if you're going to be awful and say things that, you would never say to someone's face.
Right.
Then say it with your chest. Tell me in person. Meet me at the corner. Bring it,
Damn. It's like,
ready
meet you outside.
Catch me outside.
Catch me outside. Oh my God. That's amazing. All right. So do you feel like I want this piece of content from you? Have you ever done like a mean comment read?
That's exactly why I screenshot them all, because one day I will.
I mean, I want a mean comment roundup from you in 2023.
I've got some incredibly funny ones. Do you know what the most common one is, actually? This is going to make you lie. So basically, if I'm filming a YouTube video, right, I'm focusing it on me playing.
Yes.
I don't need like, I don't know, you don't need your feet in it or something. You don't need like my carpet in it or something. I've just got the shot on me, okay? The whole neck's in shot.
Yes.
The most comments I get on YouTube are saying she's not plugged in.
Really? People just assume?
Because, like, for example, am I plugged in right now or not? Can you tell? No, because it's out of shot.
I can't see the cable.
I'm plugged in.
Oh, you are. I see it. It's in the shot now. Now I can tell.
See, I'm plugged in. It's always on the same videos.
Weird.
It's so funny. On my P-Bass, because people think of P-Basses, they think they're on the front. My P-Bass I've got is on the side.
Oh.
So people think I'm not plugged in.
It's just wild, because nobody ever says that about me. No one ever goes, oh, he's not plugged in, ever. I don't think I've ever gotten that comment.
It's literally my most common, and it's like, it's always followed with, so she's not even playing.
Right. Because you're a girl, you're young, you're a girl, and they think like, oh, there's no way that this is happening.
Oh, I'm just little old me. Yep. I'm way too incompetent
playing
to play a bass. I'm just going to sit and flutter my eyelashes instead. Like, what do you want me to do? People are so weird. They're like, she's not plugged in, she's not even playing. And I'm like, well, you can literally see the string move.
Yes.
Like, if you want to go, like, slow the video down, go play it on your own bass, see if it's the right note that comes out. Or, like, oh my God, I had one before that was, I was in a drop tuning, and he was like, the third fret's not supposed to make that sound. My guy literally went and like tried to get me. It was like, I tried playing it and it didn't sound like that, so therefore she's faking. I'm like,
oh my God.
You see these little thingies?
you can
twist
change
them.
the pitch of the string here, guy.
The pitch of your string.
Oh man. Well, it's cool.
Had it all.
Like you're so chill about it. Sometimes it's gotta feel ugly, but I love your attitude toward it. Also, guys out there, hey guys out there, stop doing that.
Just stop.
Stop doing that.
Stop.
It's not helping anybody.
I like you guys. I'm in the same page. You know, I'm just trying to play bass and get my job done.
Right. Of
I'm not
course.
hurting anyone.
Oh my God. Hey, speaking of playing bass and getting the job done, you are part of this new thing that SBL is doing called Live Class, and
Yeah.
you're teaching a rock class, which
Yeah.
I'm so
Road to Rock.
the road to rock.
The Road
Yes.
to Rock.
First of all, Daisy, thank you so much for doing it and saying yes. Thank you so much for
Oh,
doing it.
thank you for asking me. I can't, like, now that I'm speaking with you, I can't even, like, I can't recreate the reaction I had. But it was something along the lines of, like, screaming, freaking out. Like I said before, this SBL, working with SBL in any way, shape, or form, was not even on my to-do list
Yeah.
because it was so far, like, I felt like it was so far out of reach for me. And, you know, you could have picked anyone for any of these courses, and I just cannot believe, like, it took me weeks of sitting there thinking, oh my God, have I actually been picked for this thing? Like, has that just happened? Am I actually about to do this? And it wasn't until the class yesterday I was like, oh, this is happening. Like, this is a thing. This is about to happen. Like, you're doing this. Your name is on that website. You're doing it.
Yeah, it's happening. And I heard such great things about your class too. And we were talking about like rock, talking about rock.
Yeah.
And like, because that is a significant lack on the SBL, in the SBL sort of universe. Like, Scott loved rock coming up, but he's more of like a jazz fusion guy. I came in and I brought some of that, but there's all kinds of things that I talk about. And when we talked about like who loves this music so much and who would be perfect in this, I just kept thinking about you. And I wasn't sure if you would even want to do it. I mean, you have tons of opportunities. So when you were excited about it, it made my heart very happy. So I'm so glad you're doing it.
I'm glad as well.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Honestly, just hearing that means the world to me. Like, when you say that, it's not just me that gets excited, but it's little, little rock Daisy that loved the Metallica and everything, listened to Nickelback Rockstar and was like, I want to be a rock star. And now I'm teaching rock, and I want to hopefully go through those songs on the on the course.
I love it.
But it just means the world hearing that. Honestly, it's literally a dream plus come true.
Well,
like I said, I didn't dream it, but
I don't take that for granted, because there are also people out there who don't want to live stream, and like they would rather, some people we reached out to were like, oh, thank you, but like I would rather eat ground glass, honestly. Like, no, I mean,
really?
like, because they just didn't want to, like, sometimes people don't want to be in front of the camera. Now, I knew that you were comfortable doing that, but I still didn't know. So and hey, anybody listening, briefly, we just launched this thing called Live Class, and it's 5 days a week, 3 times a day, different instructors teaching you different things. It's
amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And you can check out the roster. If you go to SBL, you can check it out. And I believe it's also liveclassnow.com has all of the info. But I'm talking rock, obviously, with Daisy. I'm doing a thing where I'm leading you in a guided practice session. I'm doing a gear deep dive. Scott's doing technique. We've got Danny Moe, who's doing soul and R&B. Ian King, who's doing funk. We've got Katie Thoreau doing upright. Ian Trussheim. There's 3 Ians, actually, which is incredible. We're going to take over Live Class, the 3 Ians. Ian Trussheim, who's doing bass basics. We've got Steve Jenkins. I'm leaving some people out. Like, when you start to name people and you're like, well, cool.
You're committed now.
Yep, I've committed, and now,
Should I get the list up?
Yeah. So, but to anybody, and I say Danny Moe, I think I did, but yes, there are a lot of amazing. Oh, our great Eric Wills, who's doing, I believe, transcription. Oh, and Gary Willis, who's doing advanced jazz. Todd Johnson, who's doing more of like beginner jazz. So there's really something for everyone. We have the genres covered. Travis Dykes doing gospel and CCM. I'm getting there, Daisy. I'm getting through them. But we've got something for everybody. And you can come and really study and really go hard into jazz if you want to. You can come and just listen to records. You can come and just check out gear. You can come and, like, if you're like, you know what? I play in a church environment, but I love rock music. Go take Daisy's class. Like, it's...
I'm happy to have you guys.
It's all there right now. You can get in as a founding member for $4.99 a year, which honestly is crazy town. For the amount of streams and the amount of people you get to interact with, the price is crazy, I think. And also,
I agree.
yeah,
Actually.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I agree.
so
It's
much cheaper than
judging
taking
by
a lesson.
yeah, and it's going through the, obviously I'm kind of glad that my class didn't start on the Monday, it was on the Wednesday, so I could
Same.
actually, yeah, I was like, I could look at everyone else and see what they're sort of doing
Yeah.
and just see what the website looks like.
Right.
And honestly, this community is gonna, in a month's time, it's going to be insane because, I've already got people that have gone into my DMs being like, I've just watched back your class, it was amazing. And people are already commenting on the discussions and talking about basses, and everyone's got that common denominator. We all love bass.
Yes.
And I think it brings all of that together. It doesn't matter how long you've been playing for, it doesn't matter who you are, what you like, it's literally for everyone.
Yes.
You can go to any classes you want and it's so good. Like, everyone's so great and kind and accepting. If you don't want to feel judged and you want to, take your time with your learning and stuff, it's the place to be. There's something for everyone. It's really, really good.
Yes. And like, if you have one person that you've been studying with, obviously in-person based lessons, so great, but that's one perspective. I think we have 11 teachers on the roster at the moment. That's 11 different perspectives covering a lot of things. We've thought a lot about it, tried to pull in. I mean, when I contacted you, Daisy, it's like, I'm assembling the Avengers. Like, these are like, you are one of the people that you are a first reach out. Like, please, will you do this? And I'm so happy.
As a Marvel fan, I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Avengers Assemble.
Yeah. So, guys, you can sign up, check it out. It's also, let me just say this, it's not you in some kind of chat service where you can write a question in a chat. No, you're on Zoom. Now, if you don't want to turn on your camera, you don't have to, but you can also participate. You can react. You can raise your hand. You can ask a question. So think about that. If you are a fan of Gary Willis and you want to talk about fusion jazz and navigating the changes to giant steps, you can directly ask Gary. If you want to know, if you've never tuned down to drop C and you're like, how do you even do that? Like, you can raise your hand and ask Daisy. And that's incredible.
I'll happily tell you.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Happily.
So I'm just so thrilled. I'm so thrilled at how diverse it is too. It's something that's really meaningful to me. I mean, there was a time where I told Scott, hey, like, no more 40-something, like, bald white guys. All right, let's figure out a way to, like, come on, like, we need more perspective.
Just even being the young, like, I'm 22, like, doing this at my age, I just cannot wrap my head around it. Like, everyone pretty much in the group was older than me, in the actual session.
Yes.
And I think I was so nervous. I was like literally shaking at the start of it, because it was just, I think it had confirmed like 16 attendees. I think 26 people ended up turning up.
I love it.
And I was just like, oh my God, this is happening.
Yes.
This is it. And all these people, some of them had been playing longer than I've been alive.
Right.
And I'm like,
yeah, well, I have been. Yeah, that would be true for me.
Yeah, but someone said they've been playing for like 45 years.
Yes.
And I was like, you've been playing for double my age. Like,
double plus one.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here telling you like how to play. Like, you should be teaching me.
No, but that's why, right? I mean, it's like, you have the passion. You have. I hope too that through this, there's going to be the people that are taking the courses are going to get a lot out of it. But I think as teachers, we're going to get a lot out of it too, because right, there's going to be questions asked. There's going to be, you get to interact with these people, and I think there's nothing that makes you a better player than having to describe what you're doing and teaching it.
Absolutely.
It really
and being put
sharpens
on the spot.
you. Yeah, you're kind of on the spot. Yeah. But it's a great group. And also, guys, so we're not thinking that all these courses every day are going to have 400 plus people and you're going to get lost in the shuffle. We've really tried actually to make it diverse and tried to make it cost enough so that it is kind of a curated smaller group experience. So the idea is we're going to have anywhere from 5 to 40 people right, on a class. And sometimes you might show up to a listening class and it won't have a ton of people, but then that's good because you'll be able to interface more with the person presenting. But I feel like, Daisy, I feel like yours is going to get real popular real soon. You won't be able to field all those questions. They're going to be ripping in.
I know. I didn't even get to finish. I had a whole plan written out. I didn't even get to finish it because I was just, but what I will, right at the end of the session, playing the song and everyone just jamming together. Even I said to them, I can't hear you. I can't really see you. If you make a mistake, it's fine, but we just all need to jam together. Like, this is just so much fun. It doesn't matter if you hit a bum note. It was so, like, genuinely, it was so much fun. And like just seeing, some people were just like headbanging and some people were like really getting into it. I was like, what is going on right now? This is literally this is the best thing ever. It was so much fun.
That is, yeah.
And getting comments that, people in the chat were like, this was the best one yet. This was so much fun. Like, we totally rocked out. That was amazing. Like, some people heard the song for the first time. There were people that haven't heard Slither.
I mean, this is why you're amazing, because like you love this stuff to your core and you're like, I can't believe you haven't heard this. You got it. And like, you're so excited to hit people to it, and you are going to create Nickelback fans. I know you are. Dude.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to say, if you don't have a 5-string, get one, because we're going to be playing some Nickelback.
Yeah.
We're going to get that Spector tone.
Yeah. Some today. Mike Kroger. He's got an amazing sound. He's a beast.
Oh, so
He's a
good.
beast bass player.
So good.
I mean, yeah. And also, everybody, look, you can find all this information, like teaching the instrument. It's not so much about the information itself. You can go online and find out how to play a scale. You can find crappy tabs for all kinds of rock songs. But it's about who you interface with. It's about, like, you have one life. It's about who do you want to spend it with? Who do you want to spend time with? And so when like when we were thinking about putting this program together, it's like, who do you want to sit with for an hour and learn from? And I really, like, that's really important to me. It's not just like, who's the best, who can play the fastest, who knows the most stuff. It's like, who do you want to be around? Because the people you're around influence who you become. And
absolutely, you're spot on right
now.
This is
and Daisy,
pure wisdom, like, guys. Everyone listen to this right now.
But that's why I reached out to you, because you have an infectious personality. You're really fun to be around. Aww. Like, I want to come and take your class, and I'm going to. So
thanks, Ian.
I can't
I'm
wait.
Emotional.
Oh, well, it's
so
just
much
true.
Fun.
It's so true. I mean, and this time flew by. So look, you're awesome. We love you at SBL. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And please tell everybody that checks this out where they can go to better support you as an artist.
Oh, my name is Daisy Pepper. I'm on probably every social media platform you can find. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I have a Patreon page. If you just search Daisy Pepper, I come up. I upload so much exclusive content, and you see the real insight into a working musician's life. If that's something you fancy seeing, the good, the bad, the even uglier, the funny comments, a funny Discord place where I can share all those funny comments and then send a mob to go attack them for me. If you want to get some anger out,
if you want to be a part of the mob,
join my Patreon, join the Discord, and there'll be plenty of people you can have a go at and get it out your system. So
yeah. I love it. I love it.
And yeah, just my website as well. I've got a website that I've got all my upcoming gigs on, and just all my exciting stuff I've got going on, really. But that's everything about me. Find me there.
You are on your way. I mean, you're in it right now, and the future is so bright for you, Daisy. It's so cool.
Thank you.
Just going to be so fun. Like, I'm a fan, so I'm going to be your cheerleader. I'm going to be cheering for you every step of the way. Yeah.
And vice versa. If I want good tones, I'll come to you. Because even the Helix guys, everyone get Helix presets from Ian. They're so sick. I still need to make a video with them, but they're so sick.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm gonna turn up next week to your class, so I'll see you there.
Awesome. Let's rock out. Let's do it.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind, go someplace where you listen to this, leave a comment. If it's on YouTube, if it's on a different app, leave us a rating. It really helps the channel. And as always, love that you're listening. Thank you so much. And we will catch you in the next one. Take care.
Thanks, guys.